Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'm going to predict every conference championship winner who's going to win the conference tournament and get the automatic qualifier in all 32 conferences. Whether it's the ASUN, the Ivy League, the SWAC, the MEAC, or even the SAC or Big Ten. I'm going to predict every conference championship winner who's going to get the automatic qualifier in the tournament. In the big conferences, it really doesn't matter if you're in like the top 5 and you don't win your conference tournament, or even if you don't win the regular season crown. I think, it doesn't matter. You want to, but it doesn't matter much, because you're going to get if you're in the top so many. But let's take a look at the ASUN conference. So they're doing it the East and the West here, and they have home. At least I know recently they've been doing where ASUN had home court advantage, where like top teams had home court advantage. I believe like either top so many teams had a bye, or it's just that the top 8 made the tournament. And if that's the case, I think it's top 8. So if that's the case, top 4, or they could do it where like 3 plays 6 in the East, 4 plays 5, like Conference USA does. And then 3 plays 6 in the West, and 4 plays 5, and then 4 or 5 the game plays 1, and then the 3-6 game plays 2. See, I could see that happening, but I could see FGCU and Liberty battling out for the top in the East, and then Jacksonville State, I think, already got the West locked up. But they got to play FGCU and Liberty though, so in the East still, so I could see that, if you could see if FGCU and Liberty play twice in the regular season, I could see FGCU winning or losing a game against Liberty, or maybe Jacksonville State, I could see FGCU losing too. But I think I would say more likely Liberty though, because I do think Liberty could get the IMAC. They could get the berth in the NCAA with the IMAC qualifier. And then FGCU could sneak in as like a at large, could steal at large. That's what I could see that too. So you never know. But I could see Liberty if they play FGCU and they lose, say like the conference tournament. I could see them say Liberty making it too, But you never know. That's gonna be iffy. That's kind of up in the air how the community decides on that one. That conference, depending on who wins the conference tournament, who doesn't, the America East, I think Stony Brook, Albany, and Albany are in the top 5 on 4-1. Teams that don't have 6 games or COVID postponement or cancellation. They don't do forfeits. There's a couple leagues that do forfeits, but not many. I appreciate that because, like, even the Sun Belt, they don't do postponements. They do cancellations. And like the Big West, they don't do postponements. They do cancellations, which is better than having. If you're gonna do it, you should at least do postpone, and not and never just strip postpone the game and don't reschedule it, or just cancel it and don't strip reschedule it instead of a forfeit. I think because you can. That's kind of unfair. You could just, unless it's conference tournament time, then sure, I could see that. Rescheduling it as like far out as you can. If it's like not at like a neutral site, or schedule it as far out as you can. And at worst case, you have to cancel it or forfeit, call it a forfeit. Then you have to, but if you don't have to, don't. And I see Stony Brook 5-1, Albany 4-1, Vermont NJT 4-2, and UMass it's 2-1. So I could see the top 4 battling out for the seeds. The top 8, I believe, make the conference tournament. So Binghamton and UMBC would be out. But I could say some of these teams, that are in the bottom, fighting for the conference, fighting for like the last spots to even make it in the conference tournament and get those extra games. And the teams in the top, they're going to be fighting it out. Who's going to get like top 4? Who's going to get the 1 through 4? I could see that, like same thing. Tony Brook and Albany you're playing team, and then Vermont and NJIT could battle out too. All those teams could battle out for the 1 through 4, and then Mount Sloan, Maine. I could see them. I could just see them staying at 5 and 6 for a while, and then New Hampshire, Hartford, Binghamton, UBC could fight for who was the last 2 seeds to make it in. But it's gonna be pretty close, pretty tight the race. Who's making it? Because there's already teams with 2 losses and there's already teams with 1 loss. So Albany's already gonna get, or Stony Brook, they're already gonna get 2 losses if they lose. So I could see it. It's gonna be tight though. It's gonna be close race. In the American Athletic, you got UCF, SMU, Temple with undefeated, and then USF with loss to USCF. And I think Florida they're overrated. They're overranked with like 3, 4, 5 losses. I'm like, why is South Florida ranked? They are garble. Like, not garble, but they're like overrated. Like, they really are, like, they're not that good, like people think. Like, they have these murky wins. They lose. They lost like Texas Orange, UT Orange, Texas Orange. They're still ranked. Like, how? Like, doesn't make sense. I mean, I know the American has like a lot of good teams and they played good non-conference and they're stacked, but still, like, I don't see South Florida. I mean, I could see South Florida making it as an at-large, but I mean, maybe an at-large at bat, maybe. I mean, I don't see it though. I just don't see it South Florida making it unless they win the conference tournament. So, Elanton. You got Rhode Island and Dana top. Then you got Fort Melissa. You got a lot of teams with 2 losses. Which I could see all these 2 loss teams, propel themselves up to the top. And then so it's a really stacked conference play. So a lot of teams with 2 losses, and then they'll get like 3, 4, and then they'll just stack up. And then maybe the teams at the top, if they can squeak through these like really tough competition games, they'll end up like, what I mean? They'll end up like winning a couple. They'll squeak through. I think the team who squeaks through it all, is going to be the most likely. Because I could see a team like, but I don't see a team like Rhode Island and Dane. They're going to play each other. But even so, I don't see every team like squeaking through unscathed. You might have like one little squeak loss. But most of it I can see. I mean, but I could see a team like squeak through a lot of these like 3-2. Some of these teams like squeak through like 3-4 game win streaks and 3-2. I could see someone doing that. But you can't really see a clear favorite though right now. That's kind of a hard thing. I mean, yeah, sure, you could say Rhode Island, you could say Dane, but it could come down to like who wins the tournament between, so tournament game just comes down to straight that, who gets the bid. In the ACC, the Atlantic Coast, I'm gonna say NC. I don't know, this is tough because, some of these teams are, I mean, I don't know, because you got Louisville, you got Virginia Tech, you got NC State. You got really tough teams in the ACC. Now, I could see upsets happening in that tournament. Who wins IMAC qualifier? It's not going to matter much. It's just going to help, like, seeding and stuff purposes. That's really all it's going to help. These upsets are. But as long as they, like, in the top half of the league, top so many of the league, they're going to be fine. I'll see, like. But NC State's really unskilled at and that's like tough to do in tough league to be unscathed. I mean, there's like a few cupcakes around the league, like a few ones that are kind of struggling, but still, I mean, if you play Louisville, you know, that's tough. Yeah, like that is just a tough team to play, and you beat, so especially when you're down by like a ton. I mean, it doesn't happen. Being down by like a ton, coming back. So they credit to them. So I could see NC State for real winning the conference tournament. But all these teams, I could see them like NC State, Louisville, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, Duke, Boston College. A lot of these teams, maybe win like make it to like the second round. I could see a bunch of ACC teams in the second round, and I could see some that are one and done too. So it's squeaking like near the end. So the Big 12, 10 teams in the Big 12. Iowa State had Ashley Jones against Texas. And the Jones sisters up for COVID protocols, but they're back because the COVID protocols because they weren't vaccinated. They were on some tested positive, so it has to stay out. But enough about that. Baylor, they have to play Baylor on Sunday on ESPN2, and I don't see Baylor. I could see Baylor winning against Iowa State, but it's tough though. It's because it's in Baylor, but now they have 9 players out, and if someone gets in the foul trouble, and then so. But Baylor's still fine though. I think because Baylor's been struggling a little bit. I think Baylor can come back. They'll be fine. They got Nikki Collins. They'll be fine. I think they will. But we'll see. Oklahoma could beat. Maybe their only loss, I think, was against. But I can't remember who Oklahoma lost to at this point, but they drew a loss, and I think it's going to come down to who wins that tournament again this year. It's come down to it. If Oklahoma win the tournament, they'll be the automatic qualifier. If Iowa State wins the tournament, they'll be the automatic qualifier. And that's just what I think. It's going to be who wins the tournament. That's it. So. And then Big East. I could see him in a couple teams from the Big East going to tournament. I could see UConn. I obviously see UConn going. I have it, but I don't see UConn as a host this year. There are 3 right now. And I don't see UConn as a host because they have to play South Carolina in South Carolina. But also they also play Tennessee. But that's in Stores. But I don't see UConn winning either one. I just don't. I don't. I could see them losing to Crane, DePaul, Marquette. Those are all games where Paige comes back, which is huge. They definitely need her, in some of these key matchups against these really top teams. So and if they lose to South Carolina again, I mean, it's still 2 good losses, but I don't think that's really going to help them much. They got, Marquette. They got Crane they could lose to. DePaul they could lose to. So they're tough squads. They're really good teams. And if they get in that foul trouble or injuries or something happens and they're really deep down, I could see them losing. But I think then the Big East tournament, they got Paige and stuff. So I think they could still win the tournament overall. And they don't know when Easy's coming back. Some of these injuries, they don't know when they're coming back. But I mean, if Paige comes back in February, like she says to, she might be ready. She might be fully game ready for the Big East tournament. They could squeak her by to the tournament, to the Big East tournament. She gets some reps versus some teams in Big East play if they're not playing a while. Get her some reps and then as bench player. So I could see that too. So who knows? So I think they'll be fine, but You know, with all their injuries and stuff like that, I don't see UConn going like all the way to the tournament. All the way in the tournament. I mean, I could see UConn going like 2-3, like this round of 8, maybe the round of 16. But I don't see them going like Final Four this year. I just don't. The Big Sky. Now, the Big Sky is kind of predictable. You got Southern Utah in Idaho State. I believe Southern Utah and Idaho State are playing, see? I believe so. But I could be wrong. I believe so, though. And those two teams are really good. I think it's going to come down to who can win between Southern Utah and Idaho State. Then you gotta have two last teams that could surprise people. Like Montana State, Montana, Northern Arizona. They could stun some people. And 5-0, 7-1, 4-2, 4-2, 4-2. Like they could stun people. And that's what I think they could do. Some of these teams I think could stun someone in the conference tournament. So, but we're just gonna wait and see, you know. But so far the favorites are Southern Utah and Indiana, Idaho State. But but I think it's gonna literally come down to like who's gonna win. Like I know I say that a lot. That's cliche, but it's true though. In the Big South, you got Campbell, 5-0, 2-0, Hampton. You got Gardner Webb with 5-1, 3-1. South Carolina Upstate. You got Longwood and Hampton. 4-2, Hampton up 2-2. It's got a lot of teams that are like one loss, and you got Longwood at 4-2. So you got some teams that are pretty solid at the top of this league. But I can see some teams losing and upsets. Like I could see Gardner Webb winning the tournament right now, the way they're playing right now. But I could also see South Carolina Upstate or Campbell even winning the tournament. Some of these teams that are like at the top, I could see multiple teams winning it. So I think it's gonna be tough. Who can I think it's gonna go down to, but Campbell is the best team, you know, on the road and at home. So I could see Campbell winning it, but I could also see a couple other teams, you know, maybe do upsets. But I think Campbell is the favorite though right now. I think that maybe Gardner Webb could win it, maybe, but that'd be about it. I think Gardner Webb and Campbell right now. But I know about out, but I think Campbell still wins. In the Big Ten, you have Indiana, Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State. You got tough competition. Maryland, but Maryland's kind of already in this conference. They've only lost 3 games. They're still 12. They're 12-6 around there. It's still number 12, which I think they should be a lot lower. I think they should be like out of the tournament, not even ranked. But because they have 6 losses, but they've been playing like a tough schedule. A guy like UConn, their losses are not bad losses, but they really haven't proven themselves. That's kind of what I'm seeing out of Maryland. Like Maryland hasn't like proven themselves, like proven themselves. You know, there's like, you know, like their brand identity keeps them high. If that makes any sense. But I see, Indiana could win, Michigan win, Iowa could win after they blew up Minnesota. But Minnesota's got a good recruiting class because I'm a Minnesota. But even so, even if you're not a Gopher fan, you got a good recruiting class. The Gophers do. They got my about like the top like 40 recruit according to ESPN or something like that. Like in the whole country, according to Minnesota. So that's a huge get. So kind of like a Caitlin Clark going to Iowa type player. She's gonna be that star. So I could see some of these bottom teams turn around, you know, with like a surprise player like that. You know, watch out. You know, Big Ten is really stacked. But I could see Ohio State winning it. I could see Indiana, Michigan. I could see a bunch of teams like upsetting each other. Like one team sides the seeds, you know. They upset each other. I could definitely totally see that. So in the Big West, This is the league where they have cancellations. No postponement. All the games are canceled, not rescheduled. So some of these teams do look a little odd. But but I could see. I think top, there's 11 teams here. But I could see Long Beach State winning it, UC Irvine winning it, Hawaii winning it. But I think the favorite right now, I would say the favorite right now is Long Beach State. But UC Irvine could win it too. So you never on Hawaii could win it too. There's a bunch of teams that won loss, and I think it's gonna, who can get like I think it's if someone can get 10 wins, I think in the Big West, because they can win if they play 2 games. I think it's gonna be if someone can get 10-1, or even like 10-2 in the Big West. I think they'll have a good shot, but. If like Long Beach State or UC Irvine or Hawaii could squeak through and get like 10 wins first, one of those teams get 10 wins first, I could see it happening. But if not, I think it could be up in the air who wins the EQ tournament. In the Colonial Athletic, Drexel and Delaware top. I think Drexel's got the top spot locked over, but I think it's gonna come down to Drexel and Delaware in the tournament, in the conference, in the Colonial Athletic Association tournament. I believe they're one of these conferences that plays at home too. Like home states. So Drexel and Delaware could win their games as well. Be upset. I think Drexel could upset Delaware. But I mean, Delaware could upset Drexel too. Well, it's kind of an upset when either team that's undefeated in conference plays. But I could see either team winning in the tournament. Because I don't see the bottom teams, I don't see them like winning the tournament. In Conference USA, it's in the East. You got Western Kentucky, Charlotte, Marshall, and you got Old Dominion at 3-1. Middle Tennessee at 4-2. They're 12-4. Then you got in the West is kind of not the stack count really. You see, you got Southern Miss. You got Utah. But I could see that. I think the team coming out was from the East. Western Kentucky, Charlotte, good. Marshall's pretty good. Or I mean, but I think it's gonna come down who wins the East. Who gets like the bye? If they do buys, if every team makes it, there's obviously gonna be 14 teams. I think it's gonna come down to who gets the buys and stuff like that. Oh, I think because there can definitely be like Western Kentucky's played the most, and they've done the most winning, in conference in the regular season. All these teams. But I mean, Old Dominion's gonna play the most games, so. So we might. So but it's gonna come down. I think who can get those buys and who can win the conference tournament. Obviously, it's gonna come. Who can win the conference tournament? Who can get the buys wins the conference. For example, you got 17 in the East and West. So 3 get a bye, so 4 in. So it'll be 4 and 5. So it'll be 7. Actually, 1 team will only get a bye. So it'll be 2 against 7, 3 against 6, and 4 against 5, like they do in NFL. So it's gonna come down to who really can get that bye. I think that bye will help you get like an extra day of rest. But it could also hurt you though, because if you get like, because if you got 7 teams, and you play 1 round, and then you get 2 rounds where like one plays 4 and 5, so be down from 14 down to 8, and I'll be down. So yeah, you could only have to play 3 instead of 4. So depending on how like the bye situation works, and how like if they play games like 4 days in a row, back to back, like 4 back-to-backs, or they play like with days with a break in it. It could favor top team. Again, having to play 3 games, but could also favor someone who's on a bit of a hot streak, and had to play like the first day, had to play like the first round, didn't get that bye. In the Horizon League, it's pretty easy. I see Youngstown winning it. The only team I could see winning maybe is Northern Kentucky upsets Youngstown, maybe. But Youngstown did lose to IUPUI, so IUPUI could actually upset them. That most likely, I think Youngstown's gonna be fine though, as long as they can beat IUPUI in the regular season. And if they play a second time, and then pro teams, so Minnesota already played every team once. Or some team, sometimes they forfeit seasons. Some games were not forfeits, but still, Youngstown they beat IUPUI in the second time they play, and then they have to beat IUPUI in the tournament. But I think they could beat IUPUI in the tournament and in because if the first some games are played at like home sites, and then they go to like a more neutral site for the end of the games. So they would have to play in a neutral site, which could honestly benefit Youngstown. But it could benefit IUPUI, so you never know. I think if Youngstown beats IUPUI, Youngstown wins. If IUPUI beats Youngstown, IUPUI I think wins the conference bid. In the Ivy League, out of these 8 teams, I think it's going to be top 4 make the Ivy League tournament. So I think it's going to be Princeton and Columbia making it. That's what I think is going to win the conference bid. It was whoever between Princeton who win the conference tournament. Is it Princeton or is it Columbia? Maybe Yale could squeak in as like a 2 seed, but we'll see. That could be one of those lopsided. Yeah, it could also be like a lopsided like conference where it's like like Harvard, where it's like a bunch of teams with like 3-4 losses, a bunch of the good teams just separate themselves, too. So you never know. So I'm gonna do the other teams from the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference downward in the next year. So we'll break on our line. Take care.